But just to bring it back to this, I mean, so you're saying, why do men seek to date and marry girls way younger than them? But you, pretty recently, you said within 2 years, you dated a guy who was 14 years your senior. So, like, there's two parts of this equation. Like, it takes two to tango. I think it happens to be the case that there's a decent subset of women that are attracted to older men.
True.
And in the same way that men are attracted to younger women are attracted to older men. And if you look at the average age of marriage, I think men are about 2 years older for the average age of, it's like, I don't know, 30 or 29 for men, 27 for women. So it just happened. And most women typically, I would say, date men that it might not be an extreme gap, but are 1, 2, 3 years older than them. You typically see that play out. I think it just happens to be the case that men are attracted to younger women, women are attracted to older men. Now, I mean, there's obviously bigger and bigger age gaps that we can talk about, but it's okay when you do it. Like, it's okay for you to date an older guy, but what you're upset that men within your own age group are dating women who are in their 20s.
No.
But you are basically stealing a 45, 44-year-old guy from a woman who's in her 40s. In the same way that a 20-year-old woman is stealing 30-year-old men from you.
She may steal the 20 or 23.
I may steal some 23-year-old man,
sure.
you know?
But women do want older men. I mean, my wife told me when we weren't even dating, but I was interested. She was too young. I was interested in her. We were on a 3-way text message. My friend tried to play matchmaker. He didn't tell her I was on the text. And he said, "Oh man, what's up with you and Brandon?" And she was like, "Oh, he's really nice, but I'm looking for a guy that's like 10 years older than me." So my wife was looking for somebody in their 40s. So, but because she didn't stick to that whole thing, she ended up meeting the man of her dreams that happened to be 4 or 5 years younger than her.
Gotcha.
And I was looking, but I'm more attracted to a younger woman, not a woman in her 40s, unless she's in incredible shape. But I didn't stick to that model. I said I'm gonna go with the woman that matches my life, and that's what I did.
I like that.
Word.
And there's just like, I also don't think with the woman dating an older man, that's like it's still positive about the status of the older man. The narrative, what I think is problematic is that the narrative about the younger women is that there is this knock on women, on older women. Do you see what I mean? It's like, and there's there's a narrative about on some of these podcasts that like older women are lower value. So that the point that like a 29-year-old, I feel like I'm the senior citizen, and that's not a net positive for society.
You're not, as a human being, we're not talking about your value as a human being. We are talking, though, there's just realities when it comes to the dating marketplace. And if we're talking about the dating marketplace and we're having conversations of who is more valuable in the dating marketplace, in the same way that a guy who's 6 feet is probably more valuable on the dating marketplace than the guy who's 5'3", it's just the reality. Like, there's all kinds of things that might make you more valuable in the dating marketplace. And as you age, you're just not.
Only for women.
I actually think
it's true though. It's true though, because and I see what people are saying with the podcast. They got to be careful the way they say it. But what the encouragement is for young women to be more serious about their dating when they're younger.
I agree.
Than to play and then you're 35 with all this baggage, and then you expect to get a man that's far beyond that. So I get it. So women should understand to a certain degree that you do need to be intentional more in dating.
Yeah, because I was
not wait till you later.
A lot, and I know a lot of girls in my case. We were told, focus on your education. Go get your bachelor's. Go get your master's.
You were sold a lie.
Yeah, and now and so now I'm adding value to myself, but it's the value that I'm told is not valuable.
But you're 29. Somebody's an idiot to think that somehow you don't have value at your age. You're talking about women that may be on the cusp of worrying when they get into their late 30s. That's where women probably should worry, because the likelihood of having children, things like that, become a lot more complicated. 29 years old.
Well, but there's some people in the chat that are
they're probably single, but you're a baby. compared to life in adulthood, you're a kid. You're not even 30 yet. You still got a long way to go. Some of these immature men may be a little self-conscious about their options or whatever the case may be. They may think that, because she's 29, she slept with all these men, and they get bombarded with that stuff in their mind. Women should never be foolish enough to think that in your 20s that you somehow, these young boys ain't the man for you. You need to get a real man that's mature enough and that understand the value that you have and that's willing to forgive you for what you've been through, not painting the picture of you amongst all these other women. I'm telling you, the guys that do this online, and I know they hate me, they're single. They're single, and they try to tell they're telling these young men these things, and they're single. They're not qualified, in my opinion, to only have the mic. I think young men should listen to podcasts. They should listen to these men. They should also listen to men who are married. Because it takes a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of maturity, a little bit of growing up as a man to actually officially marry somebody. But when you can't these young men can't get bombarded with this because they start to give up hope and they look at these women as like damaged goods. Not every woman is sleeping around and getting ran through and have a crazy body count. There are women that do it. Avoid those women. You should be able to have a conversation with a woman and know, your body count is high. Then don't give her another body count. Move on to another woman. But a lot of young men, and I've seen it on these shows, they tell young men, go out, get with all these women, run it up, and do all these things. Women you shouldn't do that. I wouldn't tell a young man that. It's not conducive for a young man's growth to be a hoe. Just because the difference between men and women. Because women do it and they get shamed for it, men do it, they get celebrated for it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the world believes. You do not want to be a damaged young man. And you do not want to fall into the trap of being single forever.
Exactly.
Because these young men are going to be single because we just telling them, she's 35, a 28-year-old woman is great for this young man. She got her stuff together, she's mature, maybe she had a little life, she's over it. She had incredible value, but because she's 28 and he can't have kids with her and can't have her future, he's gonna walk away from that woman and go to a mature 21-year-old and then end up getting a divorce. I hope I'm not ruining your show.
No, not at all. Uh-oh.
Alvin Sam donated $500. Mute Brandon.
Is that a
guest to date.
Is that a mute?
Do better,
I think we have a.
I think, but this speaks as a $500.
Hold on.
500.
Does that trigger that we have a option to mute someone's microphone?
It was $9.99.
No, I think we lowered it. Do I?
That
is mute the microphone.
Hey, you can mute me. I don't care.
Okay, I guess that's a 2 minute.
I agree with you.
I agree with
Nick,
you.
Totally agree with
We
you.
all agree with
Nick,
you.
you got to mute. You have to mute microphone.
I'm fine. That's $500. I'll hang out.
It's only 10 minutes. It's only 10 minutes.
Hang out.
Nick, do you know how to mute? It's the red button. Oh, you muted? Okay, do it. Count. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon, Alvin. I like Brandon. It's been good. I disagree with you a little bit here. I feel like I shouldn't have. It's not fair for me to without you being able to respond. But so I agree with you that there's definitely women who, at any age, that can make fantastic partners. 100% agree with you. However, I think men are allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries just the same way that women are. I think we know that women are very selective. They're very picky. And I think just some of the conversations about, hey, men, if you are capable, because look, the reality is most 21-year-old women are not interested in 35-year-old men unless those 35-year-old men are really attractive in some sort of metric. Like, it is a bit of cope, like, oh, at 35, like you're in your peak. Most men at 35 probably are not capable of securing like a hot college girl. Like, it's just reality, right? However, if you are an attractive guy in your 30s and you can get a woman in her mid-20s or early 20s and she's really physically attractive and she's a great woman, like I guess the question that it makes me think of is what's the benefit of dating a 35-year-old over a 25-year-old?
Because they
I mean,
treat
what's-
you better.
What's
No,
the
they
benefit of the
don't.
25?
They really don't.
Only because their body? Is
yes,
that the only reason?
Yes, because physical attractiveness is important to both men and women. Women care about various physical characteristics. Height. Does he have a full head of hair? Is he muscular? Penis size. There's all kinds of things
But
that
she's
women
not-
care about when it comes to physical attributes. And most of the things that women care about in men when it comes to physical attributes are completely out of men's control. Whereas most of the things that men care about when it comes to women's physical attributes, typically weight, is 100% in women's control. But in any case, yes, both men and women care about physical looks and beauty and attractiveness. It is what it is. And it happens to be the case that that men view, say, women, I think the typical thing is between 18 to 25 as the most physically attractive. Like, I think I was, and I think this applies to men too to some degree. I think I was better looking 10 years ago. I'm starting to get wrinkles. Like, my skin's not as taut or whatever. I'm not as in good physical shape as I used to be 10 years ago. It is what it is. Like,
But people
said it-
on the 35s, they're like looking already for someone to get married. If they're not married by that time, they're looking for someone. I believe so. So the guy that I just recently dated, he was 37,
Based.
and he will treat me like super good and everything. It just didn't work out. He was like too far for me.
he treated you super good. Did you
Yeah.
treat him super good?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's a 13-year age gap. I
Right.
thought that's impossible for someone who's as young as you to treat a guy nicely because you're young,
I didn't
right?
say that.
No, that's what I'm saying, but that's the argument that other people are
That was
trying to
not the
make,
argument.
that because of your youth, you are
No.
not capable of being a good...
It's
I
just
mean,
about
she's
maturity.
24, not
Why-
21.
Oh, okay, 3 years. Would you have still been a good partner 3 years ago?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Thank
all right,
you.
Okay, well, okay then. But look, I think it's... shit, I'm losing my train of thought here.
You're just not ready when
It's
you're
'cause at
21 than when you're 30.
college parties, whatever you don't want to in a girl, that's what they're doing.
Not all 21-year-olds are out drinking and partying.
Most of them,
Sure, but that's not the type of girl I want.
Like the unison.
That's not the type of girl I want to begin with.
right?
So if I were to find a 22-year-old girl that doesn't drink, doesn't really party,
Probably
there's
she's
plenty
not
of,
mature enough.
I disagree. But will you admit this? Like, this is like probably we have people in their late 20s, we have people in their 30s here. You're 40, correct? Mm-hmm. I bet you know a ton of immature motherfucking 40-year-old men, don't you?
Yep.
Even older, right?
Yep.
I bet every single girl here knows a guy who's just your age or even older than you that's fucking immature. I bet you know some girls that are your age that are fucking immature, right? Mm-hmm. So age has nothing to do with your maturity. My view is I would rather, like, I can find a girl who's 23 that's more mature than a 33-year-old.
That's true.
It's
Oh,
the
I think he's-
it's the experience and the
yeah.
maturity level, I guess.